I don't know if this is a biography or autobiography. It's a book. Hey everybody, this is Heather from Templebound Paradox, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my to-be-read pile. I've decided, among all of the books that I want to read, I want to spend some time reading all of the books that I have on kind of contemporary LDS women, so that's going to be the theme for my stack right now. I've tried to mix it up a little bit and include not just women who are currently in like the focus in kind of like the public, but also women who have had that influence for a long time. And kind of in the spirit of that, I want to start by talking about a book that I've already started and I kind of got away from, but it's not because it isn't good, it's just because I was probably really busy and didn't have the time or attention to give to it completely. And it's this one by Tamu Smith and Zandra Vranes, Diary of Two Mad Black Mormons. And I love this book. I love their perspectives. I love the joy and just the happiness that they bring to being members of the church. I really miss their podcast. I wish they'd come back. Sisters in Zion, you need to bring your podcast back. I miss you. And but I know that they do a lot of public speaking engagements and stuff like that. They speak a lot at Time Out for Women, and I'm sure that they travel a lot. And so that's probably part of why they don't do their podcast anymore. I'm not pretending to know. That's just kind of my theory. I love the stories that they share in here. I love their approach to the gospel. I love the way that they manage to blend it, because I'm pretty sure they're both converts, or like one of them might be like first generation or something. I'm not too sure. But they have experiences with being part of predominantly African American churches and bringing that distinct flavor into their approach to finding joy in living the gospel. I've made it up to page 58 or 59, and so I want to get back into this because it's really good. And so if you want kind of my take and a recommendation based on this book, be sure to stop back in because I'm going to be reviewing it probably really shortly. The next one that's on my list is one that's got a lot of hype going on with it right now. This girl is on fire, right? Alfox Carraway, more than the Tattooed Mormon. And I know she really doesn't like that name, Tattooed Mormon. She doesn't like being referred to that way. And she also is a convert. And I know that she has had some really interesting experiences seeing, I don't know if you can really tell, she is inked up. She got it on her feet. She got it on her arms. Being in Utah, which is part of where she was inspired to move to after she lived in New York and after she joined the church, she talks about the very first experience she had was with an old man who was kind of looking at her. It was her holding a copy of the Book of Mormon or something, and he just looks at her and says, "You don't typically tend to see someone who looks like you holding a book like that." And I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna fight you. Like, it's terrible, right? But, you know, she challenges those perceptions. And that is part of what I'm expecting to find in this book, is someone who challenges a lot of just those perceptions and finds just utter joy in being bold and being herself. And I find stories like that to be really liberating. And so I'm really excited to get to this one. The next one that I have is Heaven is Here by Stephanie Nielson. And she keeps a blog called Nini Dialogues that have been really famous. I've also heard it pronounced Nini Dialogues. Her name is Nielson, so I'm guessing it would be Nini. I don't know. She should have like a little pronunciation guide like right underneath the title so all of us know how not to be stupid. She was in a plane crash, and this is her biography about how, you know, she had burns over the vast majority of her body, and so did her husband, and just the fact that she even survived the crash was miraculous. But then after the miracle, life still goes on, and she had to really come to terms with the way that her appearance changed, finding beauty not only in life, but in herself when she was looking in the mirror and couldn't really identify or appreciate what she was seeing anymore, and being able to transcend that type of stuff. Like, I love transcendence. I love that as a theme in stories. You know, the little blurb on here says it's an incredible story of hope, triumph, and everyday joy. And so I've kind of been putting it off because, honestly, to share a little bit about myself, my husband and I are going through infertility right now. And infertility sucks. And part of what it does, and part of what I'm trying to keep it from doing, is robbing me of my ability to find joy in other people's parenthood. It can be really hard to see other people have the blessings that you want and not get jealous. And since, like, the primary focus of everything that she does is sharing about her kids and about her family, and if you take, like, one look at her Instagram, like, Lottie is, like, the cutest little thing that has ever walked the face of this earth, little tiny redhead baby. And, you know, just, it can be hard. It can be so hard. And so I'm going to be bringing some of that perspective to the table. I can't really help it. And so that'll probably make at least some impression on my review, is how easy would this book be to read for someone who has experienced or will experience infertility. If you want to see a review on this one, it's also coming. This one has also been in my to-be-read pile for a long time. Also came across this one at the thrift store, and my mother-in-law really highly recommended it. And this doesn't strike me as a book that she would typically read. It's called My Story, so I'm assuming that it's an autobiography. And she was a really famous kidnapping victim that actually survived and was found. And her experiences, especially going to the trial, I remember reading the transcripts when she went to the trial and was laying out for the judge, like, exactly the experiences that she had being the victim of this couple. And, you know, he was completely wackadoodle, and I'm pretty sure he's, like, in jail for the rest of his life, if not on death row. And so just the incredible experiences that she had, maintaining hope and also transcending a lot of those struggles of being a rape victim. I'm really looking forward to seeing how she continues to find hope and joy and meaning in life, despite all of those experiences, and especially how she copes with memory. I'm really hoping that on some level she deals with that in the book, because that's something I would really like to learn from her, just from my own personal experiences of things that I've had to overcome. For me, that's the hardest part. It isn't knowing my infinite worth, and it isn't knowing that I'm a daughter of God, but just knowing how she copes with the memories and when that gets bad. And so that one is definitely on deck. The next one that I'm going to review, and I'm not going to lie, I tried to read this, couldn't get into it, and you know, just kind of the interest I had in it faded, and so I'm kind of trying to circle back around to it. And it's Women in the Priesthood by Sheri. I was really excited that she chose this topic to write about, especially at the time she was writing about it. It's like when Kate Kelly and the Ordained Women movement was really making a big splash through everything. And I really wanted to hear some more perspectives than just theirs, in terms of people who are active in the church, people who show up in the pews every Sunday, people who are a part and continue to be a part of the active struggle of really finding their place with this issue. That's something that I think every woman in the church, whether they want to admit it or want to openly talk about it or not, it's a question that every woman, I think, in the church has at some point. Like, I have a lot of really strong opinions on it, and I'll put in the description some posts from my blog where I talk about why I'm not an LDS feminist, and also how I have found beauty and joy and value in being an LDS woman, and how I think it's easily one of the most empowering positions you could ever have. I'm really looking forward to seeing Sheri's perspective on that. She has had a lot of influence over women in the church. She has served in lots of different boards and presidencies and all that other fun stuff. within the church. And so she has a perspective that I think women who have these sorts of questions should really be taking seriously. And I really like the way that she approaches things. She's very bold. She's very unapologetic. She challenges. She engages. She has power and energy and really an authority to teach on these things in a way that I don't think a lot of women, even in the church, give her enough credit for. Hearing her talk about this from her perspective is going to be really interesting. I don't even remember how far into this book I made it. Well, there's a bookmark here. So I made it to almost like page 100. A part of the experience that I'll bring to this book, and probably part of why I put it down, was because my husband and I are actually temple workers. There's a lot that you have to learn and that you have to do when you're doing that job, and it just goes over your head, and for a long time you kind of feel like you're just drowning in all of the amazingness that is going on around you. Now that I have that perspective of being a temple worker for almost a year now, we've been doing it, I'll bring some of that perspective to when I read this. This one is one that I'm really looking forward to finishing because I really want to finish it. Last one that I have here is Being Enough by Cheiko Okazaki. There we go. Yeah. Okay. This is one that I'm really looking forward to reading, and part of why is because she has some really distinct experiences, not only being a woman in the church, at a point in time where these questions really started to hit the fan for like the first time in like a modern sort of way. And in addition to that, she's a woman of color. She's Japanese. The experiences that she had being Japanese in the church in a predominantly white society apparently has shaped a lot of her experiences. And that's something that I'm looking forward to reading about. I love when people talk about that kind of stuff, when they talk about just the struggles that they've had and how they've overcome them, and how the church has changed to become a better place largely because of them. I know that she wrote a lot of books, and she is someone who, like Sheri was on a lot of councils and in a lot of presidencies within the church. It says that she was in the General Relief Society presidency from 1990 to 1997. So I think she would have served either beside Sheri or kind of contemporary with her. I'm not too sure. I joined the church in 2006 when I was 16, and so I really don't have a whole huge grasp on anything that happened. I guess before would be this way, before I came into the church like that. And so I really am looking forward to getting some perspectives on just what the church was like when they were a part of it, how they were mobilizing and ministering and teaching to women and the experiences that they were having in those roles. And so she's another person that I've really been wanting to get into. And if I like this one, I know her books are really easy to find. If I like her and if I like her reading or her writing style, it'll be really easy for me to get more. So that's all I have for you today. Definitely be sure to come back, because I'll not only be reviewing these books that I haven't read yet, but also some other books that I have read. I'll definitely be making the rounds through lots of different LDS books, so be sure to come back, hit that subscribe button, the like button, and thanks for spending time with me, and I hope to see you again.